Hey, and what's up, buddy? Lately I've had a real retro craving. So today I'm going to a couple of thrift stores and a retro game store to look for things that bring me way back. I'll also show you some workplace ideas on how to find some more things that you can collect, with a quick stop at one of my most favorite restaurants. This is the Berlin Turnpike, which is mostly US Route 5 and Route 15 that goes through the towns of Meriden, Berlin, and Newington, and Wethersfield, and also pay respects to a closed store that brought many of us childhood memories. The first stop is a place I've been wanting to visit for a long time. Retro Games Plus. Nothing brings you back to the 80s like toys and video games. I cannot believe that they have these old demo stands. Back in the day, there was always somebody playing with it, and when you finally got a chance to use it, the controllers or something on it would be broken. I have still never tried a GameCube. Look at all these figurines you can get here. And they even have Legos, which seems a little odd to me, but it does have a cult following. Man, seeing these and feeling them just brought me right back to my childhood, especially the plasticky sound when these carts would clunk together. I really love these Genesis boxes. They were strong and lasted for years. Now I have to say this about Retro Games Plus. Their prices were much lower than the average. I will be returning to retro games many times more, trust me. Well, I spent too much time, so it was too late to go to any more thrift stores, and decided to go to my favorite fast food restaurant, my good old Arby's. The best sandwich here? The beef and cheddar, especially the medium or larger size. The curly fries are the best too, but I always have to have mine with a side of cheddar. So a couple of days later, I got out early enough and headed for the thrift stores. Savers is a really clean store, compared to other thrift stores that is, and I've only been here once before. This place has a huge supply of used books, and they're not just cheesy titles. They also had a large wall of CDs and some used video games, but there wasn't anything good. My mom used to have one of these for the fireplace we had in the house that we grew up in. I haven't seen one of these since then. All my friends' parents had these. It was like a must-have back in the late 70s, early 80s. Not too long ago, color printers were as big as monsters. Didn't like the size of them then, so I get no retro satisfaction from this. Never thought I'd see one of these in a thrift store, but since bowling alleys are going extinct, it's understandable. Now I wish I wasn't moving soon. I would have loved to get this. I was a Jacoby Ellsbury fan, and this thing is realistic and still in its package. I wonder if somebody will buy this thing and put it to use or actually collect it. All its parts are moving surprisingly well. I used to collect the WWF figurines, and I always wanted this. Too late now, but nice seeing it. They sell these grab bags where they put multiple things in one bag for one price. Now I really came here to get shorts, for which I can get dirty and mess up all I want. Rambo Savage Strike Headquarters. Wanted to collect these Rambo toys when I was a kid, but their success was quickly over and done with before I even got a chance. I love The Simpsons, but I'm not spending $10 for that. It'd be nice to know what that is if it wasn't upside down and all the way in the back of the display case. And if you do save a lot of money at Savers, go next door and get some brew. Next up, the Newington Goodwill. I have one down the road from me, but it's nowhere as organized as this store. Not sure what Balloon Man could possibly mean, but it must be one big balloon for a man. I doubt this is worth much, but good to see that they're keeping it in plastic. So many companies try to cash in on the VR cheap headset craze. Now they're just collecting in recycle bins everywhere. Here's a tube of toothpaste that was once laying on somebody else's dirty sink. And not much of a selection of games. And a slew of some pretty good LPs. Surprising to see so much Frank Sinatra. I remember seeing these on occasion when I was a kid. Always wanted to play around with them, but you know no parent's gonna allow the kid to play with this. Plus they were always covered in ashtrays. This was a pretty cool cutout print, giving it an almost 3D image. Lots of books here too. Wasn't really interested until I found this. The very first Star Wars book ever made. The very first one ever printed had some really bad cover art. I think this one was about the 19th print. I looked it up online, and prices range anywhere from $10 to well over $1,000. For $1, I'm getting this. And here's the electronics section. Lots of kitchen appliances that were probably gifts that nobody wanted and are looking for a second home. Take a look at the carts this store has. Looks more like something that belongs in a playground that can take the beating of 100 kids. I remember my friend's parents having some shagadelic couches, but those frilly pillows would give you something to do in long conversations. Sun's going down and time to end the day with another dinner at Arby's. Bon appetit! There is no Arby's in my local town, so if I'm in an area that has one, I am going to use it and abuse it. Thought I'd try the salted caramel chocolate chip cookie. Looks unique, however, a little too soft. The cookie in close-up looks good, but so soft it was like eating pudding in my hands. And a freaking mess. Won't be buying that again. Now it's time to pay my respects to a place that meant so much to me in my early childhood. Toys R Us. Kind of sad seeing a big legend like Toys R Us having to post something like this in their windows. All the memories that once walked these floors will all be torn down or possibly remodeled into something that has nothing to do with Toys R Us, or childhood memories for that matter. From what I remember, the store looked a lot bigger when the shelves were stocked. Now it just looks like a tiny warehouse. This store was closed about a month ago when Toys R Us officially announced its final closing. So, rest in peace, Toys R Us. You will be badly missed. Maybe you'll keep that sign up just for the memories. Had to make one more stop. Just had to show you these lip smackers. This is something they'd make back in the 80s. Now my job often has these electronics recyclable bins. Most of the time it's just broken junk, but some computer builders like to come and pick through here. And occasionally you find some good appliances that still work, and most companies don't care if employees take any of it. It's getting recycled anyway. Ah, the old surge protectors. That could also protect your coaxial cables. And your old telephone lines. I do like these old sliding covers though. Here's an old Bosch coffee machine maybe? Looks kind of like a Keurig cup holder on the top. Some kind of setup software from Texas Instruments. Not sure what for though, but I'm sure it was overpriced. They often ditch these old computer towers that once ran equipment. They usually have some parts already taken out like the hard drives, but computer scrappers would love these. Here we go. An old DVD player with that good old Energy Plus Saver sticker on it. This one more than likely probably still works. Also, it's a good idea if your job had a program like this, where employees take junk that they don't need and put it here so that way other employees can pick through it and take what they need. Later on, whatever's left over is taken to Goodwill or some donation service. Usually household junk, just plates and decorations are thrown on here. And almost always a bunch of old Christmas decorations nobody wants anymore. I've seen some really classic magazines up here, like old road and track magazines from back in the 70s. There's always books up here, usually old romance novels, cookbooks, but occasionally you find something useful. A day later I found this old Logitech Extreme 3D controller, or a flight stick. And I'll have to give it a test later on, see if it works. Has a nice hat switch. And I guess this is the throttle. Lots of programmable buttons. Pretty hefty too.